580 WIBW Kansas Live. We are back. And just when I thought Topeka was such a boring place, okay. No, really, it's not. There's so many cool and amazing things that are going on. Today we have Craig Fisher here with us from the Ad Astra Theater Ensemble, another theater group here in this community. This is so exciting and so cool and so interesting, just chatting with you a second ago. Tell us about your whole beginnings. Let's talk about the humble beginnings of the Ad Astra Theater Ensemble.
Sure. I was actually in graduate school in Illinois, and I was moving back to Topeka, and I didn't have a job, and I was like, I want to be doing the kind of shows that I have been seeing that I know people want to be doing. I know actors want to be in. I know audiences want to see. And so I contacted 6 of my best friends, most of them from high school and some of them from like community theater here in town. I said, I had this idea. I want to start this small group. Let's do some shows. And so we just kind of, I don't know how, by the magic of something, our first year just put together 2 shows, and then we're able to continue on from there. And those were very well attended. We sold out both of those first 2 shows, which was just astonishing.
Okay, I'm going to sound really rude, okay? But I have never really heard about you until someone mentioned you the other day. How are you selling out shows? I'm not saying that I know, but really, there's got to be other people like me that have not ever heard of you. How are you getting this message out?
Right. Well, we because we are so small, and we're bordering on this is our 3rd year basically, and we're going into right now is our 4th season, and our next season will be our 5th season. We're really reliant on social media, and we're all very connected within the arts community in Topeka anyway. We were all doing theater at many different places before, and so we're connected to people, to actors, to audience members, but we're also doing shows that I think people haven't heard of, or the shows that people want to see, or people that are shows that they haven't seen in a long time. And so that tends to bring people out. And when you're doing something that's so grassroots and so fresh and interesting, especially when we started, I think people were just like, well, who are these people? What are they doing? What is this? And we're not doing theater in traditional spaces. We're not doing it. We've only done 2 shows in typical theatrical spaces, and that's it. Every other space has been non-traditional. Well,
we'll definitely get to the shows that you're going to be doing, but first let's talk about some of these spaces, because you need to have that space to get out and rehearse, to get people together. And sometimes a lot of these things, like chorus line you have that is coming up, you've got to have a lot of people in there. So you've obviously had to have a big space to be able to get people together to talk, to dance, to play, to do all those things and be loud. Tell us how you make that work.
Yeah. It's been a challenge trying to find a rehearsal space for some shows. We were really grateful at the beginning of our career that some local places opened up their spaces to us and said, hey, we have these rooms. You're more than welcome to use them. And that was really fantastic, and we're really appreciative of that. And now we're actually really happy to be working with Potland Presbyterian Church. They've opened up their giant basement, basically, to let us rehearse. We've rehearsed our last 4 shows there, actually. And they've been a really great resource for us. When we started, it was kind of all over the map. I mean, in basements and, wherever we could do it. And we do small shows typically. A chorus line is the biggest show we've ever done. And so we needed obviously a large space, because you have a very large line. And our choreographers actually work at Dorothy Thomas. They run that place, and so they let us use their dance studio as another rehearsal space as well. So we really are really lucky that we meet people as we go. I mean, Chris Graham Montaigne at Warehouse 414 has been so gracious with us and was one of our first supporters, and has given us performance space and rehearsal space, and we've hosted events there, and we just keep finding these people, and they keep coming to us. And Jenny Torrance at Serendipity has. We
love her too. She's a friend of the show. You're now a friend of the show. Once you come on, you are a friend of the show. I've already liked your page. I think this is really cool. Another thing too is the reason why we ended up finding out about you. I can't remember the exact reason, but we were just talking about theater in general. There's so many great people, talented people in this city, and there's a lot of different theater programs. So when you came in, you just kind of got the word out, social media, and said, hey, we're going to be doing these shows. Come on in and join us.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it was we were going to do shows that we knew our friends really wanted to be in, and that they weren't going to get a chance to be in. That shows that were the closest place that would be doing them would be Kansas City. And so people in Topeka, if you really love a show, you're going to drive to Kansas City to see it if you really love it. But if you don't love it, then you're not going to drive to Kansas City just to see it. But if you're an actor and you want to be in it, if we can bring those types of shows, those like fresh off of Broadway, fresh off of off-Broadway shows here, they're going to want to be in those. They're going to want to have a chance because we're all about giving actors shots, giving actors chances to do these like deeper, heavier, meatier stuff. There's nothing wrong with the fluffier stuff. There's nothing, a lot of people love doing that and love seeing that. We love the darker stuff, the grittier stuff, the more adult stuff. That's kind of what we are drawn to. And we want to find new ways to tell old stories. So like A Chorus Line is not a new show, at all. But we wanted to find a way how we could put our kind of stamp on it in a way.
And plus you get to also push the envelope just a little bit more than some of these other places, really can, because you are kind of out there. You get to be different and kind of, the outskirted types, where you can do something totally different. But that also gives you an edge as opposed to some of these other groups because, there's something different and people want that.
Yeah. And I think that is what is such a huge selling point for us too, is that we've always marketed ourselves as kind of on the edge. We're always doing things that are a little edgy, that push the envelope, that are more adult. And our audiences now know that. Our audiences, people who are coming to our shows, are not coming to see, White Christmas or Annie. Like, you're not coming to see those type, those. I
was coming for Annie.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
The sun will come out tomorrow, but you are not going to see Annie. They expect to see adult language, adult situations, and they're fine with it. And that's the greatest thing about now moving into our 5th season, is that our audiences have really come along with us, and they know what to expect now. Now, there's occasionally some people who are like, oh my, they did not
surprise.
Yeah, clutch the pearls, but
clutch the pearls.
For the most part, everybody has been really, really great about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think this is pretty interesting. And of course, your tickets are low in price as well. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about A Chorus Line, which is what you're doing right now. And it is opening this Thursday.
Yes.
This Thursday. So we're going to talk some more about the Ad Astra Theater Ensemble with Craig Fisher coming up next on 580 WIBW Kansas Live.
Breaking news and weather you can count on now. 580 WIBW Topeka.
580 WIBW Kansas Live. We are back. We have Craig Fisher here with us from the Ad Astra Theater Ensemble. Maybe you haven't even heard about it, but we're talking about it right now. It's kind of a big deal. A Chorus Line is opening up this Thursday. We're so excited about it, except we can't get tickets.
Well, you can get tickets, just not for 2 of the nights. We're officially sold out for Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
And the exciting news that I have is that we are almost close to being sold out for Saturday. But there are still tickets available for Sunday.
But that's huge for you. You want these shows to sell out. You want people to come and see what you've got, because you're thinking if they come out and see once, they're not going to want to miss the stuff that we're doing.
I hope. Yeah, that's sincerely what we hope. And this is our, like I said, our biggest show that we've ever done, both cast wise, the sheer budget of it all and the size of it all. It's the biggest thing we've ever done, and I'm excited that the response is so positive to it, because this cast is phenomenal, and the pre-sales alone, because we typically have an amazing amount of walk-ups that come up, just people who don't reserve tickets, don't call, don't buy them online. They just come up and they just buy a ticket because they read it in the paper, or they heard about us from a friend, or they saw it online or something. But we sold out those first 2 nights just in pre-sales alone. Just people calling and reserving and buying tickets online. And then Saturday's very close as well.
Well, I think that's kind of the way theater has gone in this town too, is people think, oh, well, I can just do the walk-up sort of a thing, which you can sometimes in this case, but sometimes you have to be really careful about that, because you could miss out on a show you really want to watch if you don't plan ahead.
Right. And we have the great thing about these shows is that while we're calling them sold out, there's still the ability to be on a waiting list for each night. So if you really need to see the show on Thursday or Friday, you can get on the waiting list. There's a number on our website and on our Facebook page. It's 969-4257. Call that number and you can get on the waiting list for tickets for Thursday and Friday. And then for Saturday, we still have tickets available. It's not completely sold out yet, but it's very, very close. And then again, we'll have a waiting list for those seats, extra seats as well.
Well, let's talk a little bit, too, about the venues, because you said that you rehearse at the Potwin Presbyterian Church, and they've been very nice to do that. You also go to the Topeka Masonic Center, but it is kind of a struggle because it's getting people to rehearsals at the right place and then also getting people to the right place to see the production.
Right.
It is very difficult because you don't really have a home.
Right. And that's been the kind of struggle since we started, especially now that we have, dedicated, I wouldn't say fans, but people who are consistent audience members who are coming to see our shows. They're always like, well, where's the next one? Where's this one? Where's this one? And we're very clear about trying to advertise where those things are. And that's difficult because we are kind of nomadic. We are kind of roving. We have our own systems that kind of go with us, and we make it work wherever we go. But it would be really nice to have our own, home where we could kind of, everything could be rehearsals and performances and all of that. And I'm not discounting, the generosity of the spaces and the venues that have helped us, because we love them and we want to help them as much as we can. And we want to keep doing stuff. And in fact, next year or next season, we're going to keep doing this because we're still looking for this. But that's our ultimate goal, is to find that one perfect space for us.
Well, we'll talk some more about some of the productions that you've put out, but first, this is obviously your career, too. You do this as a job somewhere else. You don't get paid to be a part of the Ad Astra Theater Ensemble, but then you do this at night, and you do this, and so this is your whole life. Why do you think it's so important to bring this kind of stuff to people?
I firmly believe, and I was listening earlier when you said about the quality of life in Topeka, I think that is so vitally important in the arts. That is where my heart has been since I was a small child, and so I firmly believe in the experience that a child gets from that, and then what the community gets out of that. I know that is so important, and we want to enrich our community, and I think that we live in a community where there are so many opportunities for actors, for people, for artists, for musicians, for anybody who really wants to be a part of the arts. There's things going on all the time, and I don't think a lot of people know that. I don't think a lot of people see that there's all this arts stuff happening, and people are always like, oh, go to Lawrence or go to Kansas City. And I'm like, no, there's just as many great things happening here. There's so much going on, and we want to be even just a small part of that. And that's why I do it. That's why I want to do it. And that's why my friends do it.
Well, I think people, sometimes don't, I hate to say it, but sometimes don't want to think outside of the box. They're thinking, where do you want to go to dinner? Let's go to Olive Garden. Then what do you want to do? Go to a movie. Okay, and we'll call it a night. But really, there's so much life, and there's so much art, and there's so much, enjoyable, one-of-a-kind sort of things right here in our very own community, and we just have to get out there and enjoy it. We had
a group of about 10 women show up to our last play, Bachelorette, and they have never been to a show before, as far as I understood. They were someone that we've worked with before told them to come. And they had the best time. They had such a good time, and they left, and they were like, I can't believe I didn't know about this. I can't believe I've never been to a show before. And people think, when they think theater, they think Oklahoma or Annie or like musicals. That's what they think. They think that they're not going to be able to connect to it. And that's not what theater is. I mean, theater is so much more than that. And I mean, we're telling stories, and we're telling human stories. And that's all we watch that on TV. We go see that in movies. So it's like, come sit in a theater for an hour and a half, and
Desperate Housewives is off the air,
right?
So I need to get out and start watching some of this stuff.
And and it's cheaper than a movie ticket.
It really is, yeah. And it's so cool because also you're put in the same place with other people that are like-minded. They want to search for something deeper in their community, and they want to meet more people. And I think that's a great place to put yourself in is to be surrounded by that, because it does enrich your life, and it makes us a more civilized society, definitely. So tell us a little bit about when you're teaching some of these kids, at your school. You don't have to tell us exactly where, but just when you're talking to these young minds, and how can they learn through the arts? How can they learn through acting out a play?
Well, it's funny because when I got the job that I have, I was very clear in my mind that I think that the performing arts is it very clearly fits in with any kind of education system that you have. I mean, you have multiple ways of kids to access, literacy information and all of that, and like acting out math things and using dance to really solidify what math means and math equations. And there's all these like technical ways of doing that. But I think more than anything else, it's about allowing kids to have expression and allowing kids to be themselves and to find their voice. Because I work with a lot of children who are shy, who don't have a voice, who whose parents don't have time to nurture that in them, or they can't afford to send them to a summer camp or send them to a class. Those things are too expensive for them. And so they get that exposure in the school, and it helps them find their voice, helps them find who they are, helps them be more confident. I worked with this one 5th grader who he's just is my best friend right now. And he is, last year was a troublemaker, a complete troublemaker. And he came to me and he's like, I just want to be a stand-up comedian. That's all I want to do. And so we started to kind of help him hone that skill a little bit. And he also wants to be a playwright now. And so he's writing plays in my office. And he's just, if you can find these kids who really need that focus, you give them that focus, and then they're on their way. And then you have less to worry about as far as like behavior goes and getting off track,
Yeah.
And that's what the arts can do for kids.
I think it's pretty incredible. You've done a lot of great things. Bachelorette, also Edges. You've had some edgy stuff, some different stuff. But a chorus line is starting up this Thursday. It's going to be at the Topeka Masonic Center. You can get on the waiting list for Thursday and Friday. I'm so excited for you. That is pretty exciting. The number is 969-4257. We're going to actually put that number on our Facebook page so that if you need to find that information, you can get in with it. I hope we can have you back.
I would love to, anytime.
Yeah, anytime you have a show, we would love to talk about it. I
Okay.
think this is very great. Thank you so much, Craig Fisher.
Thank you.
From the Ad Astra Theater Ensemble. We'll be back again in just a moment here on 580 WIBW Kansas Live.